Hey guys, today's video is how to deal with your borderline girlfriend when she's really, really upset. I've had a couple borderline girlfriends, so I can definitely spot symptoms, from a mile away, like a fear of abandonment. BPD girls are super quick to push guys away because they're scared that the guys are going to break up with them, so they want to be the first one to break up. So often these girls will be super fast to just push these boyfriends away. And so it's incredibly important for you boyfriends out there to have coping skills in order to deal with all this bullshit and process things when things go wrong, right? Actually sitting in my car right now, so people are driving by, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully no one hits my damn ass. But anyway, guys, drinking coffee too from McDonald's. Thank you, McDonald's, for the coffee. And I got my backup iced coffee. When I order coffee, I'll get like one hot coffee and one iced coffee because I know as soon as I get done drinking my hot coffee, I'm going to want a second cold coffee, right? But anyway, guys, how you deal with your borderline girlfriend when she's super, super angry or when she starts lashing out at you, because oftentimes borderline girls, when they're triggered, they'll start lashing out. One thing you got to understand is, number one, they say a lot of fucked up shit when they're mad. They say a lot of cutting things when they're mad because it's a cluster B personality and they lack that empathy that they need in order to care about what they say. They just really more or less don't give a fuck what they say. So a lot of times their words are super, super cruel, super cutting. Like I hit up one of my borderline girlfriends the other day and she said something on Facebook like boo hoo or something like that. She doesn't understand that talking to guys like that, you could severely set a man off by talking like that to him. Lucky for me, I have all kinds of coping skills. One of my coping skills is just jumping on this channel, guys, and talking to you, trying to help you guys manage with this stuff. Because the truth is, these borderline girls, they can be super, super sweet. They can be very sweet. Like one time, the girl that I loved in the past, she actually tiled a bedroom floor for me. That's an incredibly sweet behavior. You know what I mean? She's trying to make things nice. She tiled up one of my bedroom floors on my house. So that's an example of something a borderline girl can do that's super, super loving, super sweet. But the problem is borderline girls go through love-hate cycles where one minute they're going to love bomb you. Everything's great. Everything's great. Could be a week, a couple weeks, could be 3 weeks, a month, where they're into that love stage, right, with you, that love, smoochy love, right? A lot of times these borderline relationships kick off sexually. Like one of my girlfriends, we were clicking sexually. Like we had amazing sex together, and I absolutely adored this girl. She was super, super sweet. But she went into a psychosis and she ended up having to be hospitalized for a month because of her BPD psychosis. Actually ended up ruining our relationship. When she got out of the hospital, she left state because she thought the entire police department was after her. She thought people were after her. She had a little bit of co-occurring disorders, delusional thoughts. The thing with BPD girls is when they're severely stressed, they can go into psychosis. And BPD can be co-occurring with a lot of different mental illnesses like bipolar, schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder. So they can have anxiety with their BPD, PTSD with their BPD. It's often co-occurring where you're going to see a lot of these BPD girls. A lot of them have had traumatic upbringings, traumatic childhoods, and then they have traumatic adulthoods as well. They may have been in a lot of relationships where a man was domestically violent to them. So now when they get those emotional, close feelings, they actually get PTSD reactions on the inside when they start feeling loved by a man. Maybe the last guy that said he loved them, maybe he was domestically violent towards them. So now they're kind of scared to have a boyfriend. They're kind of scared to let somebody in their house or in their apartment because maybe the last boyfriend they had beat them up. So that's why BPD girls tend to push away, because they've been traumatized so much in their life. Oftentimes they'll have a super poor relationship with their father. They end up taking it out on the boyfriends like me. They just end up, let's say their father was a complete fucking douchebag their whole life. Now they don't trust men. Now they pretty much just use men. They just want to use you. They don't want to get emotionally close, because they hate their father. So they're just going to push you away. They put you in that naughty boat, because daddy hurt them. But when they get mad, guys, the best thing I can tell you is to just give them space. Like when I would be in a vehicle with the girl, one of the BPD girls that I really loved a lot, the best thing you can do, like if they flip out on you in the car, is just like when the vehicle comes to a stop, just get out of the car and give them space. Like in this instance, this girl flipped out on me on the car. I don't even remember what it was about, but I walked away. I got out of the vehicle and I walked away. Doing that can prevent domestic violence. Doing that can prevent yourself from snapping. A lot of us men, we have anxiety too, and a lot of us have PTSD as well. So it's important for you guys to want to prevent domestic violence, because you don't want to get domestic violence charges. Now you can't own a gun. Now you can't, go hunting with a gun. You can't do different stuff with a gun because you were arrested for domestic violence. So it's so important, guys, to use those coping skills so that you can keep your gun right, so that you can prove to local police departments that you're a safe person, that you can control your reactions, right? We all get mad. We all get super, super pissed sometimes. But what makes the difference is using those coping skills. Like I have a nature hiking trail I like to go on when I'm upset. I like to hop on YouTube, watch videos, maybe call a friend, call a family member. So it's important for you guys, if you don't have a lot of coping skills, maybe after this video, write a list of coping skills that you can use when you're having a bad day. Maybe you get suicidal. You have a coping list, a coping skills list if you get suicidal, which if you're suicidal today, you can call the suicide helpline 988. And that will get you connected to some staff that will help process things you're going through. Because we all have a bad day, right? I mean, like a month ago, I had a bad day. I called crisis. So even if you're like in an apartment, a house, it really doesn't matter, guys. If your girlfriend starts flipping out on you, oftentimes girls, BPD girls, when they get to that level of anger, they really can't turn that off. And in fact, if you stay right with them, they may escalate further. BPD girls have been assaultive. They've been, throwing things, assaulting their boyfriends. I remember one time I was out front of my building and my BPD girlfriend had me by the throat. So much that I said the police would stop if they saw her doing that. I would always just put my hands up, and just like, so that, she couldn't say I was hitting her or anything. I just more or less, hey, calm down, right? And you need to give them space. So if your girlfriend starts flipping out on you, let's say you're in an apartment, that your BPD girlfriend starts flipping out on you. Let's say she starts being really nasty with her words, which could be caused by psychosis, by the way. She might be in a psychosis when she starts rambling at you. When she starts screaming at you, she could be in a psychosis induced by PTSD. Could be certain medications causing psychosis. But even just BPD itself, when they're super, super stressed, super triggered, they can actually fall into a BPD psychosis caused by stress, which can include delusions, things like that. They may think that you're doing things that you're not, and it's just their symptoms. So that's how you win, guys. If you're in an apartment and your BPD girlfriend starts flipping out, what do? You get your goddamn shoes on and you fucking leave. This will prevent domestic violence. This will prevent you from getting arrested. This will prevent you from losing your gun rights. This will prevent, your record from being tarnished, because I guarantee if you're dating a BPD girl, I can tell you this one thing. They're attracted to codependents. They're attracted to empaths. So more than likely, the guy watching this video is a super sweet, super loving, caring person, because that's what they're attracted to. They're attracted to the nice guy. They're attracted to Phil types, right? Protector, helper, integrity, and loving. Protector, helper, integrity, and loving. So that's you, right? You're a protector, you're a helper, you got integrity, and you're loving. And so that's why it's so important for you to realize you do have value. Oftentimes these BPD girls, one of the main symptoms of BPD. So if you start dating this girl, and you get some red flags that she might be borderline, basically they go through love-hate cycles. So for a couple weeks, you might be in a love cycle with your girlfriend, and then something just triggers, snaps. It's called a BPD split, where they may actually, it's part of their mental illness. They may start splitting and seeing you in a negative light, start hating you. Like I knew a guy, he told me that the girl that I dated once, he said, oh yeah, she told me she hated you. That's because I was in a BPD hate cycle. That's a hate cycle with a romantic partner. 1 minute they're going to love you, it could be a couple weeks, couple months. And then the next minute you're in devaluement, you're in that hate cycle. It can be triggered a lot of ways, guys. It can just be an internal snap, and it's part of their mental illness where they're going to put you in a bad bucket or a good bucket. It's part of their internal BPD, which is called, basically, guys, I'm getting confused here. But so basically, what you want to do is if you're at your house or you're at your apartment or you're in a vehicle, if your girlfriend starts flipping out on you, you don't hit her, you don't hurt her. She's mentally ill. She may not even understand. She may literally not understand what she's saying to you. She may be in a psychosis. She may be telling you that you're the biggest piece of shit in the world, that you're a fucking scumbag. If you're going to be this girl's boyfriend, you need to understand that she can't be perfect because she's BPD. She has a mental illness that's causing these love-hate cycles, that's causing a fear of abandonment, that's causing identity disturbance issues where she may not know who she is. BPD girls, one week, they may wake up and say, I'm a lesbian this week. Next week, they're dating a guy. And then the next week, they're dating a girl. So that identity disturbance where they really don't understand who they are as a person, that can cause a lot of issues. You know what I mean? Impulsive behavior, that's definitely something. I think that's where like throwing things can come in. Girls that are BPD can be very impulsive. Like one time I was riding in the back of the girl that I love's car and she actually got mad at me. I had grabbed like a bag of McDonald's trying to joke around with her. And she got pissed in the moment, probably a PTSD trigger, not realizing I was just joking around with her. She ends up taking the bag and chucking it at my face. The funny thing about that whole situation is if I had done that to her in the vehicle, if I had taken that McDonald's bag and thrown it at her face, she would have called the police on me. She would have had me arrested. She would have had me thrown in jail for domestic violence. But for some reason, you women think you can beat on us guys. You think you can throw bags at our face without any consequences. In the moment her brother was in the car, I looked at her brother and I said, she knows I love her to death. That's why she's fucking doing this. I would never press charges on her because I really do love her a lot. But I've chosen to give her space to not have to, she has a private life that she wants. Fine. She wants a private life. Fine. She doesn't want me to be part of it. Fine. I'll go find another girlfriend. So that's as easy as it is. I've given her space. She told me that men trigger her. So I'm just going to give her space to be single, to be alone. She wants to isolate. That's up to her. That's fine. But I've decided to cut ties with this person because I think, she just can't make her mind up with the men in her life. I think up to recently, she's decided that she just hates men. She don't want men in her life. So I got to respect that, right? That's my job to respect it. One thing I would really like to challenge you men out there is if these women tell you things like, hey, I just want to be your friend, or hey, I need space this weekend, just fucking respect these girls, wishes, because they are mentally ill. And, a lot of times mental illness, like they may wake up on a Friday, they may be having a co-occurring disorder like bipolar disorder with their BPD, that can make them incredibly moody, agitated, suicidal, homicidal. Hopefully not, right? But basically, guys, they can wake up and just be in a bad fucking mood due to their BPD cycles, right? So they may not want to hang out with you. They may not want to be, go somewhere and hang out. So you just have to respect that as the boyfriend. Just respect them. Like in this case, the girl I love, she told me she hates men. She doesn't want to hang out with any men. She's her own worst enemy because I would have driven to the ends of the earth to love her, to care about her. I would have probably made her breakfast in bed every morning, rub those shoulders, rub those feet, right? But because she had such a nasty fucking relationship with her father, now every guy she dates is a fucking piece of shit scumbag that she wants nothing to do with. And you can't change her mindset. She's been traumatized so much, so much in her life that she's just at this time written off men. Little does she know she's her own worst enemy, because someday she's going to wake up and be an old woman, look around, and there's going to be nobody around because she's pushed everybody away. That's one of the main symptoms of BPD, guys, borderline personality disorder, is pushing away behaviors. They just push away everybody that gets close, out of fear of abandonment. I can't let this man get close to me, she's thinking. Like when I was dating her, she's thinking, I can't let Steve get close to me because he's just going to abandon me like dad did. He's just going to leave me in the dust like dad did. He's just going to ignore my needs. Like one time she went to her dad's house to get food and he totally ignored her and her boyfriend. That's an example of neglect by a father. A father should never neglect his children when they come and ask for food. I would never turn my kids away. Step kids, real kids, I would never turn my kids away if they came to my front door and said they needed some food. Of course, I would give them some food. But you see how much of a prick this guy is, not going to share his food. So he's teaching his daughter that she can't trust men, that she can't put her faith in men. That's why she, in her dating life, that's why she treated guys like me so fucking horribly, because she was so traumatized by that neglect, by that abuse, that narcissistic. I guarantee her father's a narcissist personality disorder. Very selfish. It's a very selfish disorder. That's why he's saying, oh, I'm not going to share my food, because it's selfishness. It's pure selfishness. It's your daughter, dude. It's your fucking daughter. I'm not a big fan of her dad. I got to stay the fuck away from her dad, because I'd probably have some words for him if I saw him. You know, just because his children really did have a chaotic adulthood because of their fucked up childhood, right? So that's what you guys do if your girlfriend's pissed, upset in the vehicle. If she's in the vehicle, she's screaming at you. Maybe she's hitting you in the face. You don't hit her back. We never hit women, right? I guess if they're trying to kill us, that might be a different story. But if you're just in an argument with your girlfriend, don't slap her. Don't punch her. She's mentally ill. The BPD is a mental illness, a serious mental illness. Look it up on Google. Learn about it. Learn about it as a boyfriend so you can better respond. But if you're in the vehicle, wait till you get to that stop sign. Jump out of the car. Tell her, call me when you calm down. You know what I mean? Because often if you give those BPD girls time to process things, they're going to quickly come back. Like in this case, when I was in the vehicle with her and she was flipping out, oftentimes just flip outs over nothing. I got right out of the car. And then within a couple minutes of letting her calm down, she was asking me to come back and gave me a kiss. They can calm down really fucking quick. BPD girls can calm down real quick if you just give them space. You need to give them space, boyfriend. You need to give them space, husband. Let's say you're the husband of somebody with BPD and they start flipping out on you at your house over nothing. They're literally picking a fight with you over nothing. You get your fucking shoes on and you say, bye, honey, bye. Call me when you calm the fuck down. And if you can just operate like that, I think you're going to be better off, guys, because I really think, if you give them time to calm down, you're going to win. You're not going to get those domestic violence charges. You're not going to have the police called, because what do you think's going to happen if you stay in the car with your girlfriend, she's flipping out, or if you stay in the apartment and they're flipping out, or if you stay in the house and they're flipping out? It's only going to escalate. They may attack you. Often girls, when BPD girls attack their boyfriend, they're actually injured in the process. So then when the police get there, they see this girl's got a broken arm. Little do they know she just punched you in the fucking face and broke her arm. Let's say she broke her wrist punching you in the face. You don't want to press charges because you don't want her going to jail. You love her. She's your girlfriend, so you don't press charges. You're the guy, right? Usually men never press charges on their girlfriend 9 times out of 10. But it is so critical that you use those coping skills. One of the main coping skills, just get your fucking shoes on and leave. Jump out of the car and walk away. Say, honey, call me when you calm down. If you're in the house with your wife and she starts flipping out over nothing, she's being a fucking cunt, you get your shoes on, you leave the fucking house. That way you don't lose your guns. You don't get domestic violence charges. You don't end up in jail. You don't end up in fucking domestic violence court or domestic violence rehab, which is a fucking pain in the ass. In my state, we have a men's program for domestic violence, and it is a complete fucking pain in the ass. I've never been in it, but I have family that's worked in it, and it's a big process. You got to pay to be there. So you don't want to end up with domestic violence charges. That's why you get your fucking shoes on. You get the fuck out of that car. You get the fuck out of that apartment. You just leave. You just leave. You don't try to settle things. You don't try to calm her down. You just fucking leave, because BPD girls, when they get into that mindset, they're like a drunk person that you can't rationalize with. That's why, in order to help the BPD girl calm down, you just give them space. You just leave the apartment. You leave the house. You leave the area. You leave them for the moment and just tell them to hit you up when they calm down. That's going to give them time to process, give them time to use some coping skills. Like maybe if you leave, they can turn on some music and calm down. Maybe if you leave, they can smoke a little weed and calm down. Maybe if you leave, they could have a glass of wine and watch one of their favorite shows. Like one of my ex-girlfriend's favorite shows was Bob's Burgers. And I used to tell her all the time, this is another thing you guys can do in conclusion to this video is point your girlfriend in the direction of her coping skills. So you can do this all at once as a double whammy, right? Let's say she starts flipping out on you. She's grabbing you by the throat. She slapped you. She punched you. She threw something at you. Get your shoes on. Honey, I'm leaving. See you later. She may grab you. You just put your hands up so that you don't hit her or anything. And she can't say that you hit her. And you get the fuck out of there. You get the fuck out of there so that you don't go to jail. You don't lose your guns. You don't end up in prison or anything like that or hurting somebody because you don't want to hurt someone. You know, maybe if war comes to our soil, we might have to hurt someone, but we don't want to, right? But you don't hurt your mentally ill girlfriend with BPD. That would make you the biggest scumbag in the world. If you're gonna date someone with borderline personality, you have to expect those explosive behaviors. You have to expect those evil cutting words that are meant to cut you deep. A lot of that cutting deep words could be a psychosis. They could literally be in psychosis and not even understand what they're saying. That's why it's so important for you to be patient. But that double whammy in the moment, you get your shoes on. Hey, honey, why don't you, let's say your girlfriend likes Bob's Burgers cartoon. Hey, honey, I'm leaving. I'm going to McDonald's for a coffee to help you calm down. Why don't you put on Bob's Burgers while I'm gone and smoke a joint? Why don't you put on Bob's Burgers while I'm gone and have a root beer and some popcorn? Let's say your girlfriend likes, she likes to call her mom. Hey, I'm leaving. Why don't you give your mom a call to help yourself calm down? Whatever her coping skills are, you know, on your way out, you can point her to the coping skills. Hey, I'm leaving. Why don't you put your show on and calm the fuck down? Bye. You get the fuck out of there to keep yourself safe, everybody else around you safe. If you like this video, guys, you can like this video. Please like the video. Help boost this and maybe save a BPD girl from being assaulted. It's never okay to hit a girl, guys. That's why we go for a walk when we're pissed. We get the fuck out of the car, the house, the apartment to keep yourself safe, to keep your girlfriend safe. And finally, if you have a really explosive, crazy relationship with this BPD girl, you may have to just cut your losses. You might have to cut your losses and just walk away from the relationship. If they're getting you to the borderline of getting in trouble, like my girlfriend, one of my ex-girlfriends with the illnesses she had, when she was in psychosis, I had checked on her. I hadn't seen her for like 2 days. She was in a BPD meltdown. She wasn't eating. She had like really low blood sugar, so she wasn't processing well. She fell into some sort of PTSD psychosis, and I hadn't seen her for like 2 days. So I went up and I just literally knocked on her door and, honey, do you want me to help you with your chores? And no, I'm good. And then she ends up calling 911 on me. The BPD girl called 911 on me. When she said she didn't want company at the time, I just left. I said, okay, honey, I'm leaving. And I left. Okay. About 5 minutes later, the police show up because she had called 911 on me in a PTSD psychosis. This was a girl that was formerly assaulted by a boyfriend. So I think it was that same trauma, right, where he had come up to her apartment and in a previous time, the guy actually hurt this particular girl. So I think me knocking on the door, I think it got that PTSD going, like, oh my God, like, is someone here to hurt me? Like, she really was scared. And it had nothing to do with me because I had never physically hurt her. I had never scared her. I had never once, slapped her, hit her, pushed her, nothing. I had never once been domestically violent to her. But you never know what's going on in their mind. They may be in a psychosis like that time. She was, low blood sugar, wasn't eating. She was in a psychosis. She was having a BPD meltdown. I knocked on the door. Do you want me to help you with your chores today? No. Okay, I'm leaving. 5 minutes later, police show up. They didn't end up charging me with anything. In fact, she ended up going to the hospital for a month. They ended up, instead of taking me, they took her to the mental hospital for a month for a BPD psychosis. She spent a month in the hospital, thought the entire local police department was after her. That can be an example of a BPD psychosis. So guys, just have some compassion on her. Have some compassion on the mental illness, because with BPD, everybody's suffering. The boyfriend suffers, the girlfriend suffers. Everybody suffers when BPD is present, right? maybe if y'all are in good space, you know, let's say your girlfriend is always talking about her BPD. I know a lot of girls talk about BPD, about having BPD. I have a friend that posts that she's BPD all the time on Facebook. You know, if let's say your girlfriend's in a super good space, hey, honey, have you ever thought about getting counseling? Do you think me and you could go to counseling together for the BPD symptoms? Like, you know, be careful when you confront them on that. It has to be the right moment. It has to be, you know, the right time. They have to be willing to admit they have the mental illness, which a lot of times girls won't admit they have the mental illness. Um, but it's important for you guys to do the right thing. Don't worry what they're doing, okay? I mean, you may have to have them hospitalized if they're a danger to themselves. You know, if they're serious about killing themselves. If a BPD person tells you that they're going to kill themselves, you should take it seriously. It doesn't mean you have to freak out and call the police or anything, but you want to make sure that that person is getting the support that they need to calm down, because oftentimes BPD individuals have actually taken their life. That's why it's so important for you to be a good boyfriend, good husband, good friend, and just have some compassion on these women, because they are truly suffering from co-occurring disorders like anxiety, PTSD, BPD, possible schizophrenia, possible bipolar, all kinds of co-occurring disorders that make things so difficult, right? So be that good boyfriend, be that good husband, have some compassion and care. And I think that'll go a long time, guys. Get the shoes on when they start flipping out, get the shoes on and leave. Keep yourself safe and everybody safe. If you like these videos, you can subscribe, like this channel, subscribe, share it with a friend. Till next time, guys, hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you. Until next time, see you later.